Hello everybody. In this video, we're going to study solving systems of linear equations. We're going to see substitution method, elimination method, and we're going to solve linear equations by graphing. For systems of linear equations, we need at least two equations. And both x and y value should satisfy given both equations. Let's see one example here. We have 8x plus 5y equals to negative 14, and we have y equals to 3x. Here we are going to use substitution method. Since y value equals to 3x already, we can substitute 3x wherever we see y in the first equation and solve for x. Instead of y, we're going to write 3x, and we will simplify this equation. 8x plus 5 times 3x is 15x equals to negative 14. Now we're going to combine the like terms. We're going to have 23x equals to negative 14. Since we're solving for x, we're going to divide both sides on 23. So x value equals to negative 14 over 23. So this is our x value. To be able to find y value, we're going to plug in x value into this equation. So y equals to 3x, then y equals to 3 times negative 14 over 23. So 3 times 14 is 42. It is negative over 23. So this is our y value. So this x value and this y value satisfies both equations. These are the values that solves the system. Let's see another example. Let's say we have 6x minus 4y equals to 38 and x plus y equals to 5. This time we are going to use elimination method. For elimination method, we are going to decide to cancel out whether x or y. It doesn't matter which one you cancel out, but they have to be the same value and opposite signs. So we have negative 4y here, so we need to obtain here positive 4y, so they cancel out each other when I add up these two equations. For this, I'm going to expand the second equation by 4, and I'm not going to do anything on the first equation. The first equation, we didn't do anything. The second equation, we're multiplying each term by 4. So 4 times x is 4x, 4 times y is 4y, and 4 times 5 is 20. You need to multiply everything by 4. Now we can add up these two equations. 6x plus 4x is 10x. Negative 4y and positive 4y cancels out each other, and this is 58. So x value equals to 58 over 10. You can leave it in this fraction, or you can simplify further. So what is the y value then? So if you plug in this value into x in one of the equations, then you can solve for y. So 58 over 10 plus y equals to 5. Subtract 58 over 10 on both sides, so y equals to 5 minus 58 over 10. And here, if we multiply by 5, and subtract 58, it will be negative 8 over 10, which is negative 4 over 5. So this y value, negative 4 over 5, and this x value, 58 over 10, satisfy both equations. We could also use substitution method here by solving either for x or y and then substitute into first equation. Let's work on solving by graphing on the examples. Let's continue solving systems of linear equations by graphing. On question number 1, we were given two equations in slope-intercept form, which is y equals to mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Here, our slope is negative 3 and y-intercept is 4. We can graph this equation by starting from the y-intercept, which is positive 4. Our slope is negative 3. Slope is rise over run. Rise means upness or downness. If you go above, it is positive, and if you go down, it is negative number. And run is the rightness or leftness. If you go right, it is positive number, and if you go left, it is negative number. In our case, our slope is negative 3, and negative 3 means negative 3 over 1 if you express it in fraction. So negative 3 is 3 units down because negative direction, and 1 is positive 1, means 1 unit to the right. So from here, we're gonna go 3 units down, 1, 2, 3, and 1 unit right. And if you connect these two dots, you can graph y equals to negative 3x plus 4. And if you want to put one more dot, you can go ahead 1, 2, 3 down, 1 right. Now let's pick up one straight line and try to graph it. So the graph will look like this. Now let's try to graph y equals to 3x minus 2. Our y-intercept is negative 2, so that's our start point. And our slope is 3. And we can express 3 as 3 over 1, and that means 3 units up and 1 unit right. So let's go ahead 1, 2, 3 units up, 1 unit right. So we already found the intersection. 1, 2, 3 units up, 1 unit right. And if you connect these dots, you obtain the graph. So the intersection point is this point here, which is 1, 1. So 1, 1 is the solution for these two equations. That means x value is 1 and y value is 1. If you plug x value 1 and y value 1, that satisfies both equations. Let's do one of them. So y equals to 3 times x minus 2. Instead of x, we're going to write 1. And instead of y, we're going to write 1 as well. So 1 equals to 3 times 1 is 3, minus 2 is 1, and 1 equals to 1. So that is correct. Let's go ahead and do question number 2. So we're going to graph y equals to x plus 2. Here our y-intercept is 2. And the slope is 1. So 1 means 1 over 1. So 1 unit up, 1 unit right. So 1 unit up, 1 unit right. So if you connect these dots, you obtain the graph. This time we're going to graph x equals to negative 3. X equals to some number is a vertical line. So x equals to negative 3 is here. and our intersection point is -3, -1. So that means x value -3, y value -1 satisfy these two equations. So graphically, you can graph either manually by hand, or you can use graphing utility and then find the intersection point. And the intersection point will be the solution set. And the intersection point's x coordinate will be the x value, y coordinate will be the y value. Let's look at problem number 3 and 4 by graphing. On number 3, we have x minus y equals to 3 and 7x minus y equals to -3. First, we're going to put them in slope-intercept form, which is y equals to mx plus b, and then we're going to graph manually. If you have graphing utility, you can directly graph using the original problem. So here, if we solve for y, subtract x on both sides, so -y equals to -x plus 3, and multiply everything by negative sign, you obtain y equals to x minus 3. So this is our first equation. So x minus y equals to 3 equals to y equals to x minus 3. And here, if we solve for y, we obtain -y equals to -7x minus 3, subtract 7x on both sides, and then multiply everything by negative sign, so you obtain y equals to 7x plus 3. So this is our second equation, which is equal to 7x minus y equals to -3. Now we can manually graph it. The first equation is y equals to x minus 3. So our y-intercept is -3 in the slope-intercept form. This is our b. And our slope is 1. So 1 means 1 up, 1 right. Rise over run. So let's go 1 up, 1 right, 1 up, 1 right. So if I connect these dots, I obtain my first graph. The second equation is y equals to 7x plus 3. Our y-intercept is 3 and the slope is 7. So 7 is 7 up and 1 right. 7 is 7 over 1, which is 7 up, 1 right, or opposite, 7 down, 1 left. Starting from +3, let's go 7 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 down, 1 left. So this is our intersection point. And our line has to be like this. Passing through y-intercept and the point we indicated. So our intersection point is -1, -4. So our x value has to be -1 and our y value has to be -4. That satisfy these two equations. You could graph again manually by converting first slope-intercept form and then graphing rise over run, or you could use graphing utility directly. Let's go ahead and see problem number 4. First, we have to put it in y equals to mx plus b, which is slope-intercept form. Solve for y. Subtract 4x on both sides, so y equals to -4x plus 2. And here, subtract x on both sides and multiply everything by negative, so it will be x minus 3. So the first equation has 2 y-intercept and -4 slope. -4 slope means 4 down, 1 right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 right. And if I connect these two dots, I'm done. Now let's graph y equals to x minus 3 Negative 3 is the y-intercept, 1 is the slope, so 1 up, 1 right. So this is the second equation. And the intersection is 1 comma negative 2. That means x value 1, y value negative 2 satisfy these two equations. So this is our solution, 1 comma negative 2. Let's continue substitution method examples. Question number 1. Y equals to 4x minus 9, y equals to x minus 3. So in this problem, we will pick one of the equations, whether the first one or the second one, and plug in y value into the other one. Let's pick up the second equation. So we were given that y equals to this value, which is x minus 3. So I can plug this value into y in the first equation. So instead of y, I'm going to write x minus 3 equals to 4x minus 9. So here I'm going to combine x's and then solve for x. So let's add 3 on both sides, and simultaneously let's subtract 4x on both sides. You can go step by step, or you can do simultaneously. So 4x cancels for x because one of them is positive, one of them is negative, and since we're adding 3 on both sides, so that also cancels each other. Now we can combine x plus negative 3x is negative 2x, and negative 9 plus positive 3 is negative 6. Since we are solving for x, we divide both sides on negative 2 because we need x alone. So here x value equals to positive 3. Negative 6 divided by negative 2 is positive 3. If x is positive 3, then what's the value of y? We have to plug in x value here. Y equals to, instead of x, we write 3 minus 3, so y value equals to 0. So solution set is 3 comma 0. So when x is 3 and y is 0, these two equations are satisfied. Let's continue with problem number 2. Y is given as negative 5 here, so I can plug negative 5 in the second equation where I see y. So 5x plus 4 times negative 5 instead of y here equals to negative 20. So 5x plus negative 20, 4 times 5 is negative 20, equals to negative 20. So add 20 on both sides. So 5x equals to 0. Then divide both sides by 5, x equals to 0. 0 divided by 5 is 0. So if x is 0, what is the value of y? Then in the original equation, which is 5x plus 4y equals to negative 20, I plug x value as 0. So 5 times 0 is 0. 4y equals to negative 20. Then y equals to, divide both sides on 4. So y equals to negative 5. So here our solution point is x 0, y negative 5, which is 0 comma negative 5. Let's use this one. 4x plus 2y equals to 10, x minus y equals to 13. So either x or y, I'm going to solve for one of them. Let's solve for x here. So here x equals to, add y on both sides, so y plus 13. So instead of x, I can substitute y plus 13 in the first equation. So 4 times y plus 13, because that was 4x, plus 2y equals to 10. Now I'm going to distribute 4 inside of the parentheses. 4 times y is 4y, plus 4 times 13 is 52, plus 2y equals to 10. Now I'm going to combine y values. 4y plus 2y is 6y plus 52 equals to 10. Now I'm going to subtract 52 on both sides. So 6y equals to negative 42. So I need to divide both sides on 6. Then y equals to negative 7. If y is negative 7, then I can find x value. Let's pick up x minus y equals to 13 equation. We know that x is negative 7, so x minus negative 7 equals to 13. So if we simplify, x plus 7 equals to 13, subtract 7 on both sides, x equals to 13 minus 7, 6. So 6 comma negative 7 is the solution for this system. Now we have one more system, problem number 4. Let's bring it here and solve. So we have x plus 7y equals to 0, 2x minus 8y equals to 22. Let's solve for x here. So subtract 7y on both sides, x equals to negative 7y. Again, it doesn't matter which one you solve for, but you need to plug in that value into the other equation. So here I wanted to solve for x. You could solve for y and then plug in y. So x value is negative 7y. I'm going to plug in this into x because that's what x equals to. So 2 times, instead of x, I write negative 7y minus 8y equals to 22. Here I'm going to distribute 2 inside. So negative 14y minus 8y equals to 22. If you combine y values, you get negative 22y equals to 22. And if you divide both sides on negative 22, y equals to negative 1. If y is negative 1, then what is the x value? Let's pick up this equation, x plus 7y equals to 0 equation. Y is given as negative 1, so x plus 7 times negative 1 equals to 0. X minus 7 equals to 0 if you multiply this 2 and add 7 on both sides, so x equals to 7. So the solution here is x value first, 7 comma negative 1. So be careful about which one you write first. The one you write first is always x value, and the second one is the y value. Let's continue with elimination method. We were given 8x minus 6y equals to negative 20, negative 16x plus 7y equals to 30. Here our purpose is to cancel out one of the variables. For this we need exact same value of the variable but the opposite sign. So we're going to manipulate one of the equations. So I would like to multiply the first equation by 2 so I can obtain 16x here, and that cancels negative 16x here. So if I multiply the first equation by 2, I need to multiply each term by 2. So I obtain from the first equation 2 times 8x is 16x, minus 2 times 6 is 12y, and 2 times negative 20 is negative 40. We did not change anything in the second equation, so I write it as it is. Now I'm going to add up 2 equations. 16x cancels negative 16x, and negative 12y plus 7y is negative 5y, and negative 40 plus 30 is negative 10. Since I'm solving for y, I need to divide both sides on negative 5. So y value equals to negative 10 divided by negative 5 is 2. If y value is 2, then I can find the x value. I need to plug y value in one of the equations I want above. I would like to pick up the first equation. So 8x minus 6 times 2 instead of y equals to negative 20. So 8x minus 12, 6 times 2 is 12, equals to negative 20. Now I'm adding 12 on both sides. Then I have 8x equals to negative 8. So x will be equal to, divide both sides on 8, so negative 1. So the solution is negative 1 comma 2, which is x value is negative 1 and y value is 2. Let's continue with example 2. Here we're going to decide to eliminate one of the variables. Again, it doesn't matter whether x or y. Here I would like to cancel out y variable. So I'm going to multiply the second equation by 2. So I can obtain positive 10y here, which will cancel the negative 10y. Since I did not change the first equation, I write it as it is. And I'm expanding the second equation by 2. 2 times 6x is 12x, 2 times 5y is 10y, and 2 times 2 is 4. Now I'm going to add them up, so y values cancel each other. Negative 8x plus 12x is 4x, and 24 plus 4 is 28. Now I need to solve for x, so I divide both sides on 4. So x will be equal to 28 divided by 4 is 7. Now I know the x value, so I can find the y value. So I bring x value in one of the equations and plug in and solve for y. So negative 8 times 7 minus 10y equals to 24. 7 times 8 is 56. 10y equals to 24. Now I need to add 56 on both sides. So negative 10y equals to 80. Now I need to divide both sides on negative 10. So y will be equal to negative 8. So the solution set is 7, negative 8.